The deception. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Alliance buzzed with anticipation. Representatives from over 200 spacefaring civilizations filled the massive chamber, their varied anatomies accommodated by specialized seating arrangements that spiraled upward in concentric rings. At the center stood a simple platform where Earth's delegation waited, led by Ambassador Sarah Reeves and Fleet Commander Marcus Donovan. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Alliance began High Counselor Zrixian, his translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Today we welcome humanity as the newest associate member of our coalition. Earth has demonstrated sufficient technological advancement to join our interstellar community, though they are still young among the stars. Commander Donovan stood rigidly in his dark blue uniform, a stark contrast to the ornate attire worn by other military officials present. He had expected the skeptical glances, the whispered comments that the translator implant in his ear occasionally caught. Primitive, underdeveloped, barely space-capable. Ambassador Reeves stepped forward, her diplomatic smile unwavering. The people of Earth are honored to join this esteemed alliance. We have much to learn, but also much to offer. The proceedings continued with various formalities until the matter of Earth's military contribution arose. Each member was expected to commit defensive resources to the Alliance's collective security. And now, Earth's military capabilities assessment, announced Sub-Counselor Threll, a reptilian being whose scales shimmered under the chamber's lights. Commander Donovan will present Earth's fleet specifications. Donovan activated a holographic display showing Earth's official space fleet, 36 vessels of varying sizes, most appearing bulky and utilitarian. Specifications scrolled alongside each ship, detailing what seemed to be rudimentary propulsion systems, basic energy shields, and limited weapons technology. A low murmur spread through the assembly, punctuated by the chittering sound of what humans had learned was alien laughter. General Krax of the Aurelian Empire, a warrior race known for their extensive military might, rose from his seat. His massive frame and crimson battle armor commanded immediate attention. This is a military force. He gestured dismissively at the display. These vessels would barely qualify as support ships in any respectable fleet. The weapons systems are generations behind current standards. How does Earth expect to contribute meaningfully to Alliance security with this? More laughter rippled through the chamber. Commander Donovan maintained his professional demeanor, though Ambassador Reeves noticed his jaw tighten slightly. Earth is still adapting our existing technologies to space warfare, Donovan replied evenly. We are eager to learn from our more experienced allies. General Krax made a guttural sound that his translator rendered as contemptuous amusement. Learn quickly, human, or your world will become a liability rather than an asset. As the session adjourned, Captain Alina Chen of the Earth vessel, Resilient, watched the recording from her ship in orbit around Earth's moon. Unlike the official delegation, Chen's expression freely displayed her frustration. They're laughing at us, Commander, she said as Donovan entered her ready room hours later, just as we expected. Donovan's rigid diplomatic posture melted away as he sank into a chair. Perfect. Let them laugh. Chen gestured to her terminal, where several classified files were displayed. The Phantom Fleet construction is ahead of schedule. All 20 stealth carriers and their complement of adaptive strike craft are operational. The quantum displacement shields have been successfully tested under all conditions. And Project Chimera. Chen's eyes lit up. The modular transformation systems performed flawlessly in the Jupiter war games. A squadron of apparent mining vessels converted to full battle configuration in 47 seconds, minus 12 seconds faster than our target. Donovan nodded with satisfaction. And no one outside Earth's Defense Council knows these exist. The Drakari Dominion representatives seemed particularly amused by our primitive fleet, Chen noted. Their military attaché spent considerable time questioning our junior officers about Earth's defensive capabilities. As expected, intelligence reports their expansion has been aggressive along their borders. 12 systems subjugated in the past 3 decades, always following the same pattern. Identify seemingly weaker civilizations, isolate them diplomatically, then overwhelm them with superior firepower. Chen's expression darkened. They're already beginning to isolate us. I've received reports of Drakari vessels conducting training exercises near our outlying research stations. They're testing our response capabilities and finding exactly what we want them to see: slow, predictable, and limited. Donovan stood and moved to the view screen showing Earth below. Humanity learned something important during our long, bloody history, Captain. The most dangerous predator isn't the one that roars the loudest. It's the one that strikes when you aren't looking. Chen finished. In the shadows of Saturn's rings, far from regular patrol routes, a vessel unlike anything shown to the Galactic Alliance waited silently. The ESS Shadowblade represented the true pinnacle of human military engineering, a stealth carrier housing 50 adaptive strike craft within its radar-absorbing hull. Its quantum displacement shield bent light and sensor readings around the ship, rendering it virtually invisible to all known detection methods. Captain Mira Santos stood on the Shadowblade's bridge, reviewing the latest intelligence from Earth's hidden network of sensors. Drakari fleet movements have increased by 40% in the past week. They're positioning assets along our trade routes. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Jackson, analyzed the patterns. Classical encirclement formation. They're preparing for something big while trying to appear routine. Precisely according to their historical tactics, Santos replied. And we're appearing appropriately oblivious. Throughout Earth's solar system, the true teeth of humanity's defense force remained hidden, concealed in asteroid belts, beneath the surfaces of moons, and within seemingly civilian installations. The entire Phantom Fleet operated under strict emissions control protocols, their existence unknown to any alien power. On the Drakari command vessel Inevitable Victory, Supreme Commander Vexcor reviewed the intelligence reports on Earth's defenses with growing confidence. His serpentine body coiled comfortably in his command chair as he studied the holographic display. Their technology is even more primitive than initially assessed, his intelligence officer reported. Their reaction time to our probe of their outer research station was 47 minutes. No military vessel appeared capable of exceeding 0.15 light speed. Weapons technology is limited to basic particle beams and nuclear missiles. Vexcor's scaled lips pulled back in a predatory smile. Excellent. Prepare a formal petition to the Alliance Council citing security concerns about Earth's inadequate defenses along our shared border. Request permission for Drakari forces to establish protective outposts within their system. The humans will refuse, his second-in-command noted. Of course they will, Vexcor hissed pleasantly. And that refusal will justify everything that follows. The Dominion requires Earth's resource-rich system, and these humans lack the means to defend it. Back on Earth, in the hidden strategic command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Commander Donovan met with the Defense Council. The underwater facility existed on no official blueprints, its quantum-encrypted communication system independent of all known networks. The Drakari are moving exactly as predicted, he informed the assembled military and civilian leaders. They've begun diplomatic isolation efforts within the Alliance, questioning our ability to defend our sector. Defense Minister Helena Wong nodded grimly, and the other phases of Operation Mirror Shield. Proceeding as planned. Our visible fleet continues to conduct basic, almost clumsy-looking exercises where they can be observed. Meanwhile, the Phantom Fleet is fully operational and in position. The Chimera vessels are integrated with civilian shipping lanes, appearing as nothing more than ordinary transport and mining ships. Admiral Castillo, architect of Earth's true space combat doctrine, leaned forward. The Drakari will attack soon. Their historical pattern suggests they never wait more than 3 months after beginning isolation efforts. We'll be ready, Donovan assured them. They see exactly what we want them to see, a young, technologically limited species still finding its footing among the stars. And what they don't see, Admiral Castillo added with a grim smile, will change their understanding of humanity forever. As the Council continued their preparations, Captain Chen's Resilient departed Earth orbit on what appeared to be a routine patrol mission. To any observer, the vessel moved with the expected limitations of human technology. None could detect the advanced systems running in passive mode beneath its conventional exterior, nor the true nature of its mission. To serve as bait for the trap Earth was carefully setting. The Drakari believed they were dealing with naive newcomers to interstellar politics. They would soon discover that humans had learned the art of deception through millennia of conflict against the most dangerous opponents of all, each other. The provocation. 3 weeks after Earth's introduction to the Galactic Alliance, the Europa Research Outpost transmitted a distress signal. The small scientific installation orbiting Jupiter's ice-covered moon housed 30 researchers studying extremophile life forms in Europa's subsurface ocean. Mayday, Mayday. This is Europa Outpost. We are under attack by unidentified vessels. Our shields are failing. Request immediate. The transmission cut off abruptly. On Earth, the public emergency response appeared chaotic and unprepared. The 4 defense vessels stationed in Jupiter's orbit took nearly an hour to respond, by which time the attackers had disappeared, leaving the outpost heavily damaged with 7 casualties. Captain Elena Chen's Resilient was the first military vessel to arrive after the official responders. Her ship's appearance remained unchanged, but beneath its conventional exterior, every system was recording and analyzing the attack signatures. Drakari energy weapon residue, Lieutenant Commander Reyes confirmed, examining the damaged sections of the outpost. They didn't even bother hiding their involvement. Chen nodded grimly. They're not concerned about being identified. This is a test of our response capabilities. A test we deliberately failed. Reyes noted. Precisely. Maintain appearances. Look appropriately overwhelmed and technologically outmatched. The official response from Earth's government was a diplomatic protest lodged with the Galactic Alliance Council. The Drakari representative, Ambassador Slith, expressed regret for what he called rogue elements operating without authorization and promised an investigation. High Counselor Xerxian called for calm and cooperation, but among the Alliance representatives, a narrative was forming. Earth was too vulnerable, too underdeveloped to properly secure its territory. General Krax of the Aurelian Empire spoke what many were thinking. Perhaps the humans require assistance in defending their system until they develop more adequate capabilities. The implication was clear. Earth would become a protectorate in all but name, with more advanced civilizations controlling its defense and, inevitably, its resources. When the Galactic Alliance proposed sending a security assessment team to Earth's solar system, Earth's Ambassador Reeves surprised many by readily agreeing. We welcome any assistance in understanding how we can better integrate our defensive capabilities with Alliance standards. 2 days later, the Resilient departed Earth with Captain Chen and a diplomatic contingent aboard, ostensibly traveling to the Alliance headquarters to coordinate the assessment. The journey would take them through a sector adjacent to Drakari space. They'll take the bait, Commander Donovan told Chen during their encrypted communication. Intelligence indicates they're already mobilizing their border fleet. And the security assessment team. We'll find exactly what we've prepared for them to see. Our conventional forces will appear earnest but limited. They'll recommend Alliance oversight of our defense systems, which we'll reluctantly accept, Chen concluded, buying time while the Drakari prepare their main assault force. Exactly. Safe journey, Captain. Remember, if they intercept you, fight hard enough to be believable, but not well enough to raise suspicions, she finished with a slight smile. We've rehearsed this dozens of times, Commander. 3 days into the Resilience journey, long-range sensors detected approaching vessels. Captain Chen ordered battle stations with an appropriate display of tension and concern. 4 Drakari warships on intercept course, Lieutenant Park announced. They're hailing us. The main view screen activated to show Supreme Commander Vexcor's scaled face. Earth vessel, this is Supreme Commander Vexcor of the Drakari Dominion. You have entered a restricted military exercise zone. Heave to and prepare for boarding. Captain Chen straightened her uniform, showing calculated nervousness. Commander Vexcor, we're on a diplomatic mission to Alliance headquarters. We were not informed of any restricted zones on this route. Vexcor's expression remained coldly amused. Nevertheless, you will comply or be fired upon. You have 2 minutes to lower your shields. Chen made a show of considering her options before reluctantly agreeing. Under protest, we will comply. But I must inform you that this is a violation of Alliance protocols. Your protest is noted, Vexcor replied dismissively. The boarding proceeded with military precision. Drakari soldiers in advanced combat armor secured the bridge and engineering sections. Their scanners probed every system of the Resilient, finding exactly the level of technology they expected, impressive for a young species, but generations behind their own capabilities. Captain Chen and her senior officers were brought to the ship's conference room, where Vexcor awaited. The Drakari commander's 7-foot frame towered over the humans, his scaled skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that indicated his emotional state. Currently, smugly confident, Captain Chen, he began, your vessel carries an unusual amount of sensor equipment for a diplomatic mission. Chen maintained her carefully crafted demeanor of restrained indignation. We are cataloging space phenomena as we travel. Scientific research is a priority for Earth. Vexcor circled the human officers, his movements deliberately intimidating. Is that so? And the encrypted communications we detected? Standard diplomatic protocols, Chen replied. Nothing unusual for a mission of this nature. The Drakari commander leaned close, his breath hot against Chen's face. I find humans fascinating, Captain. So young to the stars, yet so confident. One might even say arrogant. Chen said nothing, allowing a flicker of fear to show in her eyes, just enough to satisfy the Drakari's sense of superiority. After 4 hours of interrogation and a thorough search of the vessel, the Drakari permitted the Resilient to continue its journey, though with an escort of 2 warships for your protection. Once alone in her ready room, Chen activated a heavily encrypted channel using technology that appeared to be part of her personal effects rather than ship systems. Phase 1 complete, she reported. They took the bait exactly as anticipated. Their scans found nothing beyond our conventional systems. Donovan's voice came through clearly despite the encryption. Excellent. Their fleet movements have increased by 300% since your interception. Intelligence suggests they're gathering their invasion force near the Proxima Centauri jump point. Time estimate: 2 weeks, perhaps less. The Alliance Security Assessment Team arrives tomorrow. Admiral Castillo will handle them personally. Chen smiled slightly. I almost feel sorry for the Drakari. They have no idea what they're walking into. On the Drakari command vessel, Supreme Commander Vexcor reviewed the scanning data from the Earth ship with satisfaction. Primitive shielding, limited weapons capability, outdated propulsion. Confirm these findings against our previous intelligence. His science officer nodded. Confirmed, Supreme Commander. The vessel's specifications match our previous assessments of human technology. Their most advanced ship is no match for even our smallest destroyer. Vexcor's inner eyelids slid closed momentarily in pleasure. Excellent. Prepare the invasion fleet. I want 3 battle groups ready to enter the Sol system within 14 cycles. The humans will surrender quickly once they realize the futility of resistance. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Kresh, approached with a datapad. The full invasion plan. Supreme Commander. 3 entry points. Overwhelming force. Based on observed human response times, we anticipate securing their orbital facilities within 6 hours and achieving planet-side surrender negotiations within 20. The Dominion will have a new jewel in its crown, Vexcor declared. And I will have the honor of adding humanity to our subject species. Throughout Earth's solar system, the facade of normalcy continued. The Alliance Security Assessment Team arrived and was shown Earth's conventional defensive capabilities. They dutifully noted the outdated technology, the limited number of warships, the seemingly inadequate sensor network. "Your species shows promise," the Phelan team leader told Admiral Castillo, "but your defensive capabilities require significant upgrades to meet Alliance standards. We recommend immediate integration with the Alliance Defense Network and stationing of Alliance vessels within your system." Admiral Castillo appeared appropriately concerned and grateful. "We appreciate your assessment and will present your recommendations to our government immediately." Beneath this public theater, Earth's true preparations accelerated. The Phantom Fleet moved into final position, hiding within the gravitational and magnetic shadows of planets, moons, and asteroid fields. The Chimera vessels, civilian ships capable of transforming into warships within moments, continued their regular routes, appearing as nothing more than cargo transports and mining vessels. In the Strategic Command Center, Commander Donovan addressed the final briefing before the anticipated Drakari attack. "All evidence indicates the Drakari will strike within the next 72 hours. They believe our system is defended by 36 conventional warships and a basic sensor network. They have no knowledge of the Phantom Fleet, the Chimera vessels, or our true technological capabilities." Defense Minister Wong surveyed the holographic display showing the real disposition of Earth's forces, over 200 combat vessels hidden throughout the system, with technology that matched or exceeded anything in the Alliance. "Operation Mirror Shield is fully operational," she confirmed. "All command personnel are at their stations. Civilian defense protocols are ready for immediate implementation. The Drakari expect to face a primitive, disorganized defense," Admiral Castillo added. "Their historical pattern suggests they'll target our major orbital installations first, then establish orbital dominance before demanding surrender." And instead, Donovan said with grim satisfaction, "They'll encounter the full might of humanity's true space combat capability, a capability we've hidden not out of weakness, but strategic necessity." Throughout human history, warfare had taught one consistent lesson. The advantage always went to the force that controlled information, that disguised its true capabilities until the decisive moment. Earth had applied this ancient wisdom to the stars, presenting a facade of technological limitation, while developing combat systems in secret that now stood ready to defend humanity. As the countdown to invasion continued, Captain Chen's Resilient seemingly limped back into Earth orbit, reporting engine troubles from its encounter with the Drakari. In reality, the ship carried detailed scans of Drakari military technology, battle formations, and communication protocols, intelligence that was immediately integrated into Earth's combat systems. The final piece was in place. The trap was set. Human history was filled with tales of superior forces defeated by those they underestimated. The Drakari were about to join that long list, learning too late that humanity's greatest weapon had always been the ability to appear weaker than they truly were, until the moment they weren't. The revelation. The Drakari invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, precisely as Earth's intelligence had predicted. 87 warships arranged in perfect attack formation created an impressive display of military might. At their center, the massive dreadnought Inevitable Conquest dwarfed all other vessels, its weapons capable of reducing a small moon to rubble. In Earth's Strategic Command Center, Commander Donovan watched the enemy's arrival on the holographic display. Around him, officers worked with quiet efficiency, no panic in their movements despite the overwhelming force now entering their system. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Communications Officer Harper reported. "Standard Drakari intimidation package, videos of their previous conquests, destruction of civilian targets." Donovan nodded. "Let it play on civilian channels. Keep our military bands silent." On the main screen, Earth's visible defense fleet, the decoy force, moved to intercept the invaders. 36 ships against 87, positioned exactly as expected for a desperate last stand. "Drakari fleet is increasing speed," Tactical Officer Rodriguez announced. "They're deploying attack formations, targeting our lunar base first." All visible fleet units execute Protocol Valiant Stand, Donovan ordered. I repeat, Valiant Stand is now active. The small Earth fleet began evasive maneuvers that appeared amateurish and panicked to outside observers. The Drakari warships closed in, their superior weapons raining destruction on the human vessels. Within 30 minutes, half of Earth's visible fleet was crippled or destroyed. Supreme Commander Vexcor watched from his command throne aboard the inevitable Conquest, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Pathetic, he commented as another human ship exploded. I expected at least some challenge from these creatures. They fight as predicted, Supreme Commander, his second-in-command replied. Their tactics are rudimentary, their technology inferior. Vexcor gestured toward the blue-green planet now visible on their screens. Prepare the bombardment of their major population centers. Once they see their cities threatened, they will surrender. Back in the Earth Command Center, Defense Minister Wong had joined Commander Donovan. Together, they watched as the Drakari fleet formed up for their final approach to Earth. They're sending a demand for unconditional surrender, Harper reported. They're giving us 1 hour to comply before they target major population centers. Donovan checked the tactical display one final time. The Drakari fleet had moved exactly where predicted, clustering their forces in a tight formation to maximize the psychological impact of their approach to Earth. Perfect, Donovan whispered. He turned to Minister Wong. Madam Minister. Wong nodded, her face resolute. Execute. Donovan pressed his hand against the DNA scanner on his console. Authentication Donovan, Alpha 7 Thunderclap. All Phantom units execute Protocol Revelation. I repeat, Protocol Revelation is now active. Throughout the solar system, the impossible happened. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear as over 200 warships appeared from nowhere, surrounding the Drakari fleet in a three-dimensional cage of destruction. The human vessels were sleek, black, and unlike anything shown in Earth's official records. On the inevitable Conquest, alarms blared as sensors suddenly detected massive energy signatures all around them. Impossible. Vexcor shouted, rising from his command throne. Where did they come from? How did they get past our scans? His tactical officer frantically checked readings. Unknown stealth technology, Supreme Commander. They're everywhere. They have us surrounded on all vectors. Donovan opened a channel to the Drakari flagship, his voice calm, almost conversational. Supreme Commander Vexcor, this is Commander Marcus Donovan of Earth Defense Force. I believe you were expecting our surrender. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding about humanity's capabilities. As he spoke, Earth's true fleet powered up their weapon systems, targeting locks appearing on every Drakari vessel. Allow us to clarify the situation, Donovan continued. You have 1 hour to surrender your fleet. After that, we'll demonstrate what humans are truly capable of. Supreme Commander Vexcor stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Where moments ago his fleet had held total superiority, now they were completely surrounded. The human ships were unlike anything in Drakari records, their hulls seeming to absorb sensor scans rather than reflect them, making targeting systems struggle to maintain locks. This is some trick, Vexcor hissed to his officers. Some primitive deception. Launch fighters. Target their largest vessel. The Drakari fighter squadrons poured from the hangar bays of their capital ships, hundreds of sleek attack craft moving in the rigid, perfect formations that had broken the defenses of a dozen worlds. Donovan watched calmly from his command post. They're deploying fighter screens in standard Drakari attack pattern. Athena. Activate countermeasures. Deploy Hydra units. Acknowledged, the AI's calm voice responded. Hydra units deploying. What happened next would be studied in war colleges across the galaxy for centuries to come. The human ships that had appeared small and insignificant suddenly began to change. Hull sections separated, rearranged, and recombined. What had seemed like single vessels split into 5 or 6 smaller craft, each moving with impossible agility. On the Drakari flagship, Vexcor's mandibles clicked in shock. What is happening? What are those ships doing? They're changing. Supreme Commander. His tactical officer's voice shook. Reconfiguring somehow. Our targeting systems can't keep up. The human fighters engaged the Drakari squadrons with tactics that made no sense to the alien commanders. Where Drakari doctrine called for rigid formations and predictable attack vectors, the human craft flew in seemingly chaotic patterns, never where they were expected to be, striking from impossible angles. Donovan watched as HFY coordinated the battle, the AI drawing on thousands of years of human warfare to employ strategies the Drakari had never encountered. They're attempting to regroup, Lieutenant Rodriguez observed as the enemy tried to form a defensive perimeter. Donovan nodded. As expected, HFY implement Napoleon Gambit. The human fleet's movements shifted again, appearing to create a weakness in their formation. The Drakari forces, trained to exploit any opening, immediately concentrated their attack on this apparent vulnerability. They've taken the bait, Donovan said quietly. Execute. The trap closed. What had appeared as a weakness was actually a killing zone. Human ships that had been hiding in powered-down mode suddenly activated, catching the Drakari forces in devastating crossfire. Meanwhile, stealth bombers appeared directly alongside the largest Drakari vessels, launching targeted strikes against their propulsion systems. In the Drakari command center, chaos reigned. Supreme Commander, we're losing ships too quickly. They're using tactics we've never seen. Vexcor slammed his clawed hand on the console. Impossible. These are primitives. How are they predicting our every move? Donovan received a transmission from Captain Chen, who now commanded one of the Phantom Fleet's strike groups. Commander, we've disabled the propulsion systems on 32 enemy vessels. They're dead in space. Prepare boarding teams, Donovan ordered. I want their command codes and navigation data. He opened a channel to the Drakari flagship. Supreme Commander Vexcor, your fleet is disabled and surrounded. You have two options. Surrender now and your crews will be treated according to galactic convention, or continue this fight and be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide. Vexcor's reply came moments later, his once arrogant voice now subdued. This is Supreme Commander Vexcor of the Drakari Dominion. We surrender to Earth forces. Donovan allowed himself a small smile. Excellent decision. Supreme Commander, welcome to a new understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy. Around the solar system, Earth's true fleet stood revealed at last, not as a joke, but as perhaps the most formidable fighting force the galaxy had ever seen. The news spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. On 1,000 worlds, beings of every description gathered around communication terminals to watch the impossible footage. The mighty Drakari fleet, pride of the most powerful empire in known space, limping back to their territory under escort by previously unknown human warships. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Alliance Council, the usual ordered proceedings had dissolved into chaos. Representatives shouted over one another, demanded explanations, or sat in stunned silence. The Aurelian General Krax, who had laughed openly at Earth's fleet just weeks earlier, now sat frozen in his seat, his crimson battle armor seeming less impressive than before. The council leaders struggled to maintain order. Please, esteemed delegates, we must approach this development with rationality. A small delegation from Earth entered the chamber. Commander Donovan led the group, walking with the same calm confidence he had shown when they had mocked him. The room fell silent as he approached the central platform. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Alliance, Donovan began, his voice carrying easily through the hushed chamber. Earth thanks you for convening this emergency session. The Phalon representative leaned forward. Commander Donovan, is it true? Did your forces truly defeat a Drakari battle fleet? Donovan nodded once. When the Drakari entered Earth space with hostile intent, we defended ourselves. With ships that appeared from nowhere, shouted the Vrikian ambassador. With technology you claimed not to possess. Donovan's expression remained neutral. Earth never claimed anything about our military capabilities. You made assumptions based on what we allowed you to see. Screens around the chamber displayed images of Earth's true fleet, the stealth carriers, the modular hyperships, the advanced weapon systems that had neutralized Drakari advantages. For centuries, humanity fought itself, Donovan explained. We perfected the art of war against our own kind. When we finally united and looked to the stars, we carried those lessons with us, not out of desire for conquest, but understanding that the galaxy might not be as peaceful as we hoped. The council leader's form stabilized as she considered Donovan's words. What does Earth want now, Commander? Vengeance against the Drakari. Territory. Reparations. Donovan shook his head. Earth wants what it has always wanted, to join the galactic community as equals, to trade, to learn, to share knowledge. But we will not be colonized, exploited, or threatened. As Donovan spoke, messages were arriving from across the galaxy. The Talari Republic, whose outer systems had been under Drakari occupation for decades, reported that the occupying forces were withdrawing. The Neveri found Drakari border patrols suddenly respectful of their sovereignty. Earth offers alliance to any peaceful world, Donovan continued. We have no desire for empire, but we will defend ourselves and assist others who face aggression. After the session, representatives from a dozen younger species approached the Earth delegation. The Talari ambassador bowed deeply before Donovan. My government wishes to discuss a mutual defense agreement, he said quietly, and perhaps training for our fleet officers. Similar requests came from the Neveri, the Phyrexians, and others who had suffered under Drakari expansion. Donovan accepted each request with dignity and respect. In a private chamber, the council leader met with Donovan alone. You have changed the balance of power in our galaxy in a single day, Commander, she said, her light form shifting through concerned patterns. Some will see this as threatening. Donovan nodded. Change always frightens those who benefited from the old order. But humanity has learned that true security comes not from domination, but from just relationships between equals. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, a grand ceremonial hall on a neutral world hosted an event few had ever imagined possible. Under a soaring dome of crystalline material, representatives from across the galaxy gathered to witness the formal signing of the Earth-Drakari Peace Accord. Commander Donovan, now wearing the formal white uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, stood before the massive stone table where the document lay. Across from him stood Sub-Commander Kresh, who had replaced the disgraced Vex Corps as leader of the Drakari military. The terms are agreeable to the Drakari Council, Kresh stated, his translator conveying the words with none of the arrogance that had once been typical of his species. All occupied territories will be granted independence or returned to their original governing bodies within 1 standard year. Donovan nodded. Earth will provide oversight for the transition alongside representatives from the Galactic Alliance. The two leaders pressed their hands to the document's biometric scanner, making the accord official. Applause filled the hall, though many Drakari officials clapped with stiff reluctance. Later, during the reception, Kresh approached Donovan at a quiet moment. You could have destroyed us, the Drakari officer said bluntly. After we surrendered, your fleet had the capability to press the advantage all the way to our homeworld. Why didn't you? Donovan studied the alien commander. Because that's not who we are. Sub-Commander. Humanity doesn't seek to replace one empire with another. We fundamentally misunderstood your species, Kresh admitted. We saw your small visible fleet and thought you weak. We assumed your bloody history made you primitive. A reasonable mistake, Donovan replied. Many species who achieve interstellar travel do so after unifying peacefully. They develop weapons as tools of exploration, not conflict. But humans had to overcome their own violent nature before reaching the stars. Kresh finished. We did.